all the pain came on from it. I can't numb it. I won't medicate. I'm still learning and growing. I am not who I was before. I'm done hiding from all my failures. Wait and see my masterpiece. Bruised and torn on my broken parts, falling like they collide, all to take me where I'm meant to be. So I thank my lucky skies. I thank my lucky skies. If I feel it, if I feel the pain, then I am still alive. And if I'm living, wanna give it all night, simply survive. I'm leaning into it, I'm breathing in it, inhaling all that hurt. 'Cause walking away, it'd all be in vain, and that would hurt much worse. I am not who I was before. I am done hiding from all my failures. Wait and see my masterpiece. Bruised and torn on my broken parts, falling like they collide, all to take me where I'm meant to be. So I thank my lucky stars. I thank my lucky stars. Oh, I don't know if I'm going, but I still learn and growing. I thought I so much, but hell I showed
All right, we are live, or I should say, I am live today, and it is because we have life. Life comes with life, right? All right, so today I am coming live because of well, first of all, I'm free, I'm home, and I believe it's a good time to share some kind of a personal information, a personal experience, as I have put it. And so that is a reason for being live on a day that is not typical of our live shows. All right. So, yes, we are live. My goodness. I appreciate the fact that you are joining us, you are watching with us. And so we are definitely going to get to roll on something that I feel it's important to share. Very, very important stuff. So let us roll together on this live show. All right, on this live show, let me make sure that I get all chats coming in case you bring your comments. Just want to see that your comments are coming through. If you have a comment, just put it on the live and we shall roll together. But before we roll, you know how we always do, we always try to give you a health tip before we proceed, right? And so our health tip today, it's something that I think it's something we all should know. At least if we didn't know by now, we would know. And that is especially those of us in the harder climates now. We are usually in a colder climate, but those of us in the temperate region up north, above the equator, the summer has been predicted to be hot. You know, for where I am, it's not actually been as hot as I thought it would be, because usually by this time of the year, it would be dangerously hot. But that did not last. now there are advisories on the news now for a heat wave that is moving around, especially if you are in the south and towards the Midwest, from Texas all the way up. You got to be careful with hydration and ensure that you do not get dehydrated. Some people have already died due to heat-related, complications. So if you are in a colder region and it is summer now, don't be deceived. It is going to get hot if it's not already hot in your area. And the way to beat heat strokes and stuff is to stay hydrated, stay cool. If you don't have AC in your area, in your home, go to the library. Public libraries usually have air conditionings, and that will help you be safe. And so that is our heat advisory and warning for your health this summer. All right, so let's move on with that as a tip. Now, with that being said, this is what we want to talk about today. Today, it's not, again, not a planned show, but it's a heart, what I call a heart to heart conversation from my own heart. From what I have experienced. I was just thinking about this just yesterday, and I'm like, this will be something good to share. And so, because it is going to be something good to share, I am sharing it right now with you. And the reason is that most people probably feel the same way that I felt when I went through this. And for that reason, it is good to share my own experience. And so, we are going to talk about this as something that is important in your life. Most people talk about midlife crisis, and I know that you may not be in your midlife yet. If you are in your midlife, you probably have experienced what we call midlife crisis. But I'm not particularly concerned about talking about midlife crisis. But this same thing would apply to somebody who is their midlife and they are having crisis. I think I'm not in my midlife yet. And so, what crisis, the crisis that I think I face, I just want to share on a personal level, be vulnerable, so that because we hold the microphone all the time preaching and providing live shows, does not mean that we don't go through crisis. We do. And so, in order to whatever I do to help myself, I want to share with my audience and people who follow me. And so, this is a candid conversation, what I call a heart to heart conversation, how you can actually handle your young life crisis. That is what we're going to talk about. The young life crisis, knowing what matters in life, knowing what matters in life. And this actually came out of an experience I actually just recently had. I was attending a party that we had organized for my younger kid, my son. And while standing and waiting for the kids' party to start, uh, I realized that, I just began to think, I've had these parties for my two other children who are older now. And now this younger one is also going through the same parties, like a routine that we have done. And so I began to think, what have I actually done in this life? Is this just taking care of the kids and seeing them mature, seeing them do great? Is that all it is to our life? Or is something else there? Am I failing? Am I achieving? Am I successful in this life? Those are questions that usually come, to people who, are conscious about doing well and excelling and doing great things, right? Most people who think that way, at some point or the other, you begin to think and see, are you doing well? Are you doing what it takes to make you successful? Are you being successful? Or are you just going through life like a casual person? For me, life is something that should be full of successes. And I'm just going to share my heartfelt, thought about what success is and what failure is. Because I actually honestly had to think about it as I watched the kids play, who we had to kill about an hour watching the children play, doing nothing and particularly not talking or doing it. So I just reflected, how am I doing? How am I doing it? How am I doing? It wasn't supposed to be a show, but personally, I was just considering those things. What have I achieved in this life? What is out there? What can people say about me? Have I really done something good, or even in myself? If not, what people will say? Do I feel like I've actually made it, or I'm on the I'm on a path to making it, or what is it? Is it a failure for me now? So that was really something I had not thought about. Usually, you think about these things when you are sitting down in your couch and trying to introspectively look at your life. But this is just hanging out in the kids' playground and then being alone a little bit, and then all of a sudden, boom, these thoughts began to appear. And so I felt like, let me think. I began to go to a downward spiral, as I began to consider what have I actually achieved in life. It's like, because tell you what, for me, maybe I should be a little more candid here. For me, when I was growing up, I lived with my grandmother. And those of you who live with your grandparents, you could probably appreciate it more what I say. My grandmother believed in me. She said a lot of great things about me. I don't know what she saw in me, but she probably saw something great in me that I didn't know. But as a kid, this grandmother is my father's mom, who I lived with, told me that this kid is going to be great. This thing's going to achieve a lot. I would fix a door, when nobody was able to fix it. Of course, just a little young boy, 3, 4 years old, fixing doors, and saying certain things that I did not know. They actually told me things that have spoken about that up to now I had no clue what I was talking about, and to them it was baffling. It was mysterious. Where is this kid coming from? Well, how did he know all these things and what is he talking about? So at some point, they actually were a little scared of me because they thought that maybe I had come from, how uh, um, people of old used to think. Maybe somebody who is reincarnated because I was speaking things that was profound. And so to cut the long story short, she created the impression that I'm going to be somebody really great, somebody achieving, somebody doing excellent, somebody doing stuff that nobody has done in the family. And so I've been propped up and brought up thinking this way all my life. You know, so maybe you don't have that experience, but if you live with a grandparent or parents that believe in you, they will say these things about you, and at some point you look back and see, what are all those things that they were saying? Have you really made it the way they were saying, or did you just fail? So those are candid conversations and candid things that sometimes you have to introspectively look within and see how you are doing. And so that is what happened to me. I was beginning to consider all the good things that I was told while I was a kid. You'll be that, you're smart, you this, you that. And I was trying to take stock of what I've actually become in this young life, approaching middle age, but not yet middle age yet. And so I began to feel like maybe I'm in a young age crisis. Have I really achieved what I was told I was going to do, or what I even thought I could do myself? Forget about what they said, but myself. Have I really achieved the things that I thought I was going to achieve, or have I failed? Have I made the money that I thought I was going to make, or have I failed? Have I really done some of the things that my folks believed that I could do, or have I failed? Those are things that everybody should ask one way or the other in their life. But those questions should not bring you to depression. Those questions should not bring you to stress. Those questions should not bring you into thoughts that are unhealthy. And that is where I was going with that, because I began to think that I haven't made that much money. No, I don't think I've made the money that I thought I could make by now. I don't think I've made, the best of what people look up to and say that this is the greatest or this is the best, as I believed that I was going to do, told right from childhood. And so I was beginning to become, stressed and depressed. And then, boom, I began to feel different because right there, God started speaking to me and telling me what matters. And that's what I want to share with you, because had I not gotten that intervention, I could probably not stand up on my feet, be bold and face life again. Because, yeah, you would say that, but you've made it. Those of you who know me, probably you live in a good big house, nice neighborhood, nice family, nice kids, a good career, good profession. What are you talking about? Um, it's far more than that to life, and that is what I want to share with you who are watching, so that you become stable. If you're a young person, You probably have finished college. You probably don't even have any college education or anything of the sort. And you look at your folks, and everybody is excelling. Everybody is marrying the most beautiful women, big building multiple homes, buying and selling good stuff, big business executives owning their own businesses. If you're in the US, you probably have you live in a big mansion. After the mansion, you have your boat, which is a sign that you have made it. You live on the shore. You got your career going, you got your business going, everything is working out. That is what we think as success. And if you see people doing those and you are not doing that, you may be challenged. You may be thinking that probably you have failed. Is that really failure because you don't have those things? Now, that's not what I felt after I went through those, what episode I call an episode of introspection or review of my life, and which made me think that I'm probably in a young life crisis, not in the middle age yet, but probably in my young life crisis. And is it really true? Are you in your young life crisis? Or if you are in a middle age, are you in your midlife crisis? Is it really? Are you actually in crisis? Have you looked back and thought that you have failed in life? You failed your children. You failed your family. Do you think that is what is happening to you? Well, let's see what success. What is even success? So I actually wrote some of the things down that I thought I would talk about. So what others have done. Some of your friends may be full-time pastors, you know, with mega churches. You may be a church leader without a huge congregation. You probably just started. You know, some people, of your folks, even your own classmates, your schoolmates, some of them may have beautiful families with children. You probably still don't even have a partner yet. You are not married. You don't have hopes of getting anybody to marry you, especially some of the young women out there. And you feel like you are in your young life crisis because the marriage time it's up and you are not married yet. So you may be actually feeling um, some kind of a failure right there. Some people also among your peers may be professors, maybe teaching in colleges, teaching in high schools, with good careers, and you don't feel like you have that going for you. Some people too are doing other great things. If you look at your friends and you consider your life, you feel like you don't measure up. It feels like you were born in two different generations, but those are people you went to school with. Those are people of your own age group. Those people in your neighborhood, people you grew up with, and yet they're doing big things and you don't seem to have any of those. So that will make you feel like asking yourself, have I failed? Have you failed in life? And that is where the midlife crisis and the young life crisis come in. Have you failed in life because you haven't achieved those things? Those are the questions that I was asking myself personally too. Have I failed because I haven't achieved those things? And the answer may be no. It could also be yes. Goodness. It could also be yes, depending on what you are looking at for what failure or success is. So you could ask yourself, have I failed? Have I failed because I haven't achieved it? Have I failed or am I on a failing path because I don't have business? I don't own a business. I don't own a multi, membership church or ministry. Have I failed because, my family is small? Have I failed because I don't have a stable family? Even the marriage that I had broke down. I'm no more married. I'm a single parent. I'm a single person right now. Have I failed? Because those are not the things that I was looking up to achieve. Have I failed compared to my peers? And those questions are not easy questions to answer. They are not. But that being said, whether they are easy or not, they still have to be answered. But the way to move on in life is how you look at what failure and how you look at what success is. So in my own review, in my own young life crisis, I should say, what I found out, like I said, I got an epiphany from the Holy Spirit. What I found out about success is different from what the world thinks success is. completely different. Completely different. So let's define what success is from my perspective. And you could define it in your own way. But if your way makes you stressed, if your own way makes you anxious, if your own way makes you feel inadequate, then you probably should align your definition to mine now. Because after having this definition for myself, I feel much better and I feel that I'm doing better. So you could probably be doing greater if your definition of success is one which aligns with what your maker wants for you rather than what the world expects. So success is not a measure of numbers. That is the first thing, the first point that I want to bring out. Being successful does not align with numbers. In other words, if somebody is successful because they have a lot of money in the bank, that is not true. That means if you say somebody is successful because, let me just switch on camera to this side. Just so, if you feel like somebody is successful because they have more money in the bank, you have missed it. You definitely have missed it. If you feel somebody is successful because they have money, they have huge sums of money in the bank, you have missed it. Because I tell you, there are successful people. They are rich people, I should say, very, very rich people who don't feel that they have achieved anything. So having the numbers, having money at the bank is not a measure of success. That is a measure of wealth. I mean, if you have money, you are rich. That is what it is. But being successful has nothing to do with having money. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if you agree with me. Being successful has nothing to do with money. Has nothing to do with money. Being successful has everything to do with something else that we're going to talk about. Being successful has nothing to do with the numbers, the numbers of houses people have, the numbers of mansions people have built. Being successful has nothing to do with the number of degrees that you have attained. Being successful has nothing to do with the kind of car you drive. It has nothing to do with being wealthy. Success is different from wealth. And that is why rich people may not necessarily be happy or joyful. Many rich people have committed suicide. People with very great careers have done certain things that are unfortunately very, very, very sad. Very, very serious stuff. Negatively, I'm saying. If you do not agree, just look out there and see how many rich people you have seen who are living miserable lives. Very miserable. They have all the mansions, they have all the cars, they have all the businesses, they have all the beautiful family. Everything is working out, but they have no inner peace. Because being successful has nothing to do with numbers. It has nothing to do with how many cars you have. It has nothing to do with anything that you do. It has nothing at all to do with anything that can be tangibly measured. Being successful has nothing to do with that. Being successful has nothing to do with your stardom, how people look at you, how people talk about you. That is not being successful. Being successful has nothing to do with the number of certificates that you have. The knowledge you have acquired doesn't make you successful. They will make you rich, they will make you famous. But to be successful, as the question comes, is a completely different thing altogether. And that is what I found out during my own young life crisis when I was beginning to consider what I have achieved in this life. I was looking to ask myself, how many homes have I built? How many businesses have I established? How much money do I have at the bank? How much, you can add how many degrees? How many degrees do I have? If you go on to that route as a measure of success, then I can tell you that you will be miserable. And that is when people talk about midlife crisis and young life crisis. But there's another measure of success, which I found and which makes me very happy to come on this live today. So, in my little introspection, in my little review, in my little young life crisis that I should say I was having, because I was thinking about how much of all these things I have acquired, I found out that to measure success is completely not related to numbers, but related to impact. IMPACT. Impact is the measure of your success. So you may not have the $1 million bank account. You may not have the best job on the planet. You may not have mansions. You may not own businesses. But if you own impact, oh my goodness. If you own impact, my goodness. My goodness. If you have impact, if you have impact, that is what makes you successful. If you have impact, how much of an effect you have on others, how much of an influence, a positive influence you have on other people's life, how much of those things you can count. If you can count how many people you have impacted by your life, oh, that is where impact is. That is where success is. And so some rich people, by virtue of their being rich, are able to impact more because they use their riches to help others or to change other people's life. So they're rich and they use their riches or their wealth to impact lives. So they have become successful just by virtue of being rich because they have the resources to impact. But you don't need a huge sum of money in the bank to impact lives. As a matter of fact, you don't need money to impact. All you need is what God has given you, who you are. Just harnessing what you are and tapping into it and using this to bless or touch the lives of others. And people who impact others are the most joyful, successful people ever lived because they are actually living out of the abundance of the riches that God has placed in them, and they are enhancing the lives of others. Out of you shall flow rivers of living waters. If rivers of living waters are flowing out of you, it means that you are impacting lives, and that is what success is. And so you may not own those mansions, you may not have that elaborate, a business, elaborate church. You may not have that big, ministry. But if your ministry, however small it is impacting lives, if people are being blessed, even if one person is being touched by your ministry or by your work, that is what success is. Can somebody tell you that? Because when I started this channel thing, at some point, the measure of success by YouTube and by all these social media sources are the numbers. So they want you to have more followers, more 1,000. For YouTube, I think you need at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to even be considered, as somebody who is ready for business. They will make you tap into their financial resources, put advert and stuff, commercials on your videos so that they can cut you a little bit. That is their measure of success. And it is hard to achieve, but for them, to be successful, you got to get to that extent. And so at some point, even with our channel, when we have not reached that milestone, it felt like maybe we are not making any impact, because if people are not, subscribing, then there's nothing. But then I go out and somebody sees me and they tell me, hey, I've been watching your shows and keep it up. And oh, last time what you talked about, I'm like, wow. So if one person is being impacted as a result of what I do, I'm being successful. So the numbers may count for what the world system looks for. So in the world, you can't go out and tell your people that you are successful when you don't have money, because that's what the world standard is. But I'm here to define for you that in my own young life crisis, or I should say, if you are in a midlife crisis, don't look at the amount of money you have, but look at the amount or the number of impact you have made. If you are doing some small remittances every now and then to your folks back home, And that small amount of remittances is paying somebody's tuition and getting somebody an education. My goodness, what kind of success is greater than that? You are successful. You are successful. Or if you are taking care of somebody, not your child, but of whom, I mean, for whom without you they can not even get ends meet, they cannot eat, or they cannot afford shelter or clothing. That is a huge impact. That's a whole life touched. My goodness, my goodness. What is bigger than that? And that is when I began to think, oh my goodness, how successful I am. And I thought I was failing. Because can you count how many people you have touched by the things you do? If you can count, then you have room to do more. But the good thing is sometimes the people you touch don't even let you know. And so as long as you're doing the right things for people for the right reasons, you are making impact. And the impact is what success is. So success for us on this channel, for us, for the people who are watching me, for success, we believe success is measured in the number of impact. The people you have helped, the people who depend on you for their livelihood, the people you pray for, the people you care about, who would go through serious problems if you are not around. Those are your successes. Those are the measure of what you are doing. Those are the things that make life worth living. Not having money, not having, a lot of businesses. Good. If you have those, you can have more impact. So you have more success. But you have not, if you don't have those, and the little you have, the little you have is being spread around to touch lives, that is success. So most of you thought you were failing, but I'm here to tell you that you are the most successful person ever lived. Because with the little thing that you have, look at how many people have been blessed. Look at how many people are touched. Look at how many people you take care of. Look at how many people depend on you. Look at how many people that, even if it's not consistently, the person that you touched by way of sponsorship, by way of, just one meal, by way of even smiles, that person that was going through serious adversity, and by your call, they smiled. By your encouragement, they lived. They did not hang themselves. By your prayer, they lived. By a word or two you spoke in the pulpit, they are hanging on to life. That is success. You are the most successful person ever lived, and you never knew. So you thought you were in your midlife crisis. No, you have done a lot. That is what is expected of us. Building homes are just, something else. Making money, having $1 million in the bank. Trust me, I'm not saying that I don't want to be rich. I want to have millions and millions of money. But until I have those, I don't want to count myself a failure, because I'm doing a lot with the little that I have. And that is where I want you to go. That is what I'm hoping that you hitch your success at. That way you will feel joy and appreciate the good things that you're doing, and begin to continue to harness and do even more with the things you have. If you know that is success, then when God opens the windows of heaven and money begins to flow and you become the millionaire, now you know what success is. So you use that $1 million or that huge sums of money to do more successful things, rather than somebody who is always only chasing the money. In fact, killing people along the way, treading on people along the way of making money, because money is the object of their success. That is not successful. So being successful is not the numbers, it's the impact. That's the key that I want you to take from this stream. Being successful is not in the numbers, whether it's in the bank account, whether it's the number of degrees, whether it's the number of people in your church that you are shepherding, whether it's in the number of patients you have seen, whether it's in the number of people who work under you, whether it's in the number of businesses you have opened. It is in the number of impact you are providing, the touch, the number of touches that come from your life, the number of words you have spoken that change people's lives, the number of encouraging words that make people hold you so dear that they cannot live without you, the number of people who depend on you for the little tiny remittances from here to India, from here to Pakistan, from here to Africa, whatever it is, the little money you sent that somebody saw and they became so joyous that they began to smile. Those are the little successes that add up. Those are the impactful, successful lives that we live. And so you are successful. You could do much more better, even if you know that you are doing these things, and those things are successful things. So that is the stuff that came to mind when I began to think about young life crisis, thinking that, I'm getting old. What have I done so far? And then God showed me this. So that is what I want to share. I want to see if there's something else that I wrote down that I forgot to share. So the next time you think about being successful, ask yourself, how many lives have I impacted? How many lives have I blessed? How many lives have I changed? How many lives have I really, 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 really encouraged? How many lives have I lifted from poverty? How many lives have I touched by my career, healing people as a nurse? How many lives have I touched as a doctor, as a pharmacist? How many lives have I touched as an engineer by the things that I did? In fact, in my own family, how my kids love me, how much I've touched their lives. That is huge success. Or your wife or your husband, how much you have touched them by your service and by your love. That is great success. That is great success. And so you may not have a husband, you may not have a business, you may not have a wife, you may be a single parent. You are still successful if you are making impact, if you are touching lives. And that is what is important. How many people you have touched by way of your support that they can have food to eat, how many people you support for their education, how many people you support to just make them smile and joyful, and how many people you have touched who are going to heaven bound. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. That is more important than having a mega church. Having a mega church will only exponentially increase your impact. But until that, the impact is what is important. If you're making an impact and you follow, as a matter of fact, sometimes when you follow and watch over the impact and see to increase the impact, the church will grow. Your success will even grow. Your impact will multiply because you seek for avenues to bless people. You seek for avenues to make people's life better. And that in itself will attract more people. And that is how you grow. But if you just look on the outward, number that people look for, I want a big church, and the number is what you are looking for, you will stagnate because you are missing it. If I were you, I would look at how I can help the few people that I have, the love that I should show to them, what matters in their life. How can I be of help to them? The poor in the people that I lead, the people who are in misery. What can I change about them? And when you do it, that word of mouth will bring other people who need same to come around. And that is the beginning of your exponential increase in terms of impact. So success is measured in impact, not in numbers. So before I close the stream, I just wanted us to also remember that because we are giving you all these, we're actually trying to, we have a store that I've established now that will, we're going to sell merch, products that will carry some of these things. This thing that we talked about is going to be on a t-shirt. Success is not in numbers. Success is, measure of impact. We're going to make a t-shirt for that. But until we do that, we have a few things that we have established that on our store already. Remember, we did a stress series over a long period: financial stress, marital stress, single life stress, you can name it, fatherhood stress. We have talked a lot about stress. And so we had just one word to describe what stress is happening, what stress is doing. And that one word, we are actually using our website to promote this one word, which is relax, to relax. And so I'm just going to go through this. If you are watching and you just want to be able to go and have any of these products that will say relax on them, You can give it out as as a gift to somebody, to yourself, to just to memorialize what we have talked about. So like this sweatshirt here, it has relax on it because we have talked a lot about success, right? So it says relax. So if you just want to just have something to remind you what is relax and what did we learn from stress. Relax, learn to relax, right? So that is just one thing. And then we also have others for a hat like this. We also say relax on it. You can buy something like this, just wear it out, and anytime you are stressed, just pick it up and wear and say, I am relaxing. I am chilling out. I'm not going to be stressed out, right? And that would be something that would be nice for you to have. We also have a host of other things that, and like I said, I'm already going to add onto it what I talked about today, which is success is not in numbers. Success is in impact. So you can also definitely look out for that on our store. The next time you check it out, and you can order stuff like that so that you can also just remember all the time, because you may forget. But anytime you see that clothing, that piece of clothing, you just say, hey, I'm relaxing. Hey, I'm successful. I'm not measuring numbers. Numbers are just there to help me achieve some of the impact. But whether I get there or not, the little that I have is big enough to make me able to, to impact. And that is what is most important. So that's where we're going to hitch this video at. And remember again, that success is not in numbers. To be successful does not mean you must measure products in numbers. To be successful, you measure out of impact, how much impact you have become to others, how much impact, influence, positive change, blessing, whatever you can call it, how much that is what is most important. That is what we mean success. And so I hope you enjoyed this time with me. And I hope you are going to live from today doing what is more important, looking at the impact of your life on others as a measure of your success, rather than the acquisition of numbers, whether in career or in wealth. Impact will bring you joy. That is what success is about, to be joyful. Thanks for watching. Again, I say, beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And we'll see you again Sunday evening. And until then, stay blessed and stay impactful. God bless you. Thanks for watching.